You're listening to the Beyond the Prophy podcast, where we help you out of career burnout so that you can reclaim your personal freedom while pursuing your passion. I'm your host, Jasmine Haley, entrepreneur, influencer, and educator that will help empower you with our interviews, strategies, and straight talks. If you're ready to push past your comfort zone to your greatness, you have found the right podcast. Stay tuned and listen in. This Beyond the Prophy episode is partly sponsored by Young Dental Innovations. Hey, this is Jasmine, your host. We are here with an awesome episode with a Canadian dental hygienist.
Yes.
Lisa, welcome to the show. Lisa, tell us your name, your full name.
So my full name is Lisa Hardrill, and yes, practicing registered dental hygienist in Canada, as you mentioned, Jasmine, specifically residing in the Ontario area, just north of Toronto.
Oh, I love it. So I never been to Canada. One day I hope to come there and attend an event. And
that needs to be a priority.
Yes, it does.
You would love it.
I mean, what's the point of having a passport, right?
Yes, you gotta use it.
You don't really use it, right?
Yeah.
So we connected on Instagram, and
yes.
One of the things that really caught my eye with Lisa is the fact that she's really big on supporting and empowering hygienists and dental professionals. And, you know, Beyond the Prophy is all about that. And we're all about showcasing individual stories. And what I love, especially, is that not only have you been a rock star hygienist, but you're welcome, a mom hygienist. You have a family.
Yes, 2 young boys. So,
goodness.
For sure, there was a point in my career where, certain things had to take a bit of a backseat, especially in the younger years, but getting to a really easy stage now with my kids and a mom hygienist because, 9 and 11 are my 2 boys. So definitely more self-sufficient and allows me to kind of have more free time to do other things, right? So, it's fun balancing both being a mom and a career woman.
I love it. So my girls are 10 and soon to be 8 in a few months. So we're right
so similar. Yes.
So
don't you find it's getting easier?
No.
Well, girls can be different too, right? But
the attitude is coming out a little bit more. So I feel like easier in the sense that they are expressing a little bit more independence, but not so much with like the attitude that's starting to come now, especially with my older one. So I've talked to other moms, there's different levels that you're working with, but let me not even, I'm going to get on to a whole different tangent.
Sure, go for it.
If I start with my kids. All right. So let's talk about your 17 years in this industry. And one in particular I really wanted to focus on is, even though you have the responsibilities as a mom, you've also maintained your identity as a woman, as a career woman. So just tell the listeners some of the stuff that you're doing, and then how you've been able to maintain the passion that you've had so far in your career for all of these years.
Definitely. I think for me, I've really had the privilege of working in several different work environments, and each one has really been challenging in its own kind of unique way and kind of led me, to that next stage. Obviously, private practice was where I really first started out. And then eventually kind of got into some independent practice, juggled that with public health. And that's really where I spent, I would say, a good 7 years with public health before then completely kind of changing where I'm at now, which is with oral science. We're doing education and sales. But it's all about just, following your instincts, sometimes taking those risks because, that's all about learning and growing and really staying engaged in the profession. So what I'm loving now is more working directly with dental professionals to really make a change and impact within the industry and patient outcomes, right? Mm-hmm. For sure, it's still important to practice clinically every now and then because I love chairside. But it's definitely, it's been a wild ride, and I've loved each stage of my career so far. So that's a bit about kind of where I am now and what kind of led me there, I would say.
So when you're transitioning, because one of the things that you've done is you've worked in private practice, you've been in periodontal practice. I have
Yes.
here your independent practice as well, in public health, which is where my heart is. Now you're in the educational role. So what would you say are like some of the pivotal points of when you knew it was time to transition and how you kind of transitioned between roles?
That's such an important question. And honestly, it was my last year. So in 2017, I moved out of the clinics in public health. So basically here in Ontario anyways, we have school teams that kind of balance, yes, some clinical work, but they're going into the schools and screening hundreds of children a day. So my role with public health was very much focused on the clinical aspect. So I was providing services in the clinics across the region where I was working. And that eventually, that position changed and I was in more of a team lead position. So again, more looking at community needs, processes, kind of like that middleman between the clinical, dental assistants, hygienists, and management across York region. And that position is kind of what led me to oral science. In around the time, that's when silver diamine fluoride was a lot, bringing to the forefront as far as being a huge game changer. And obviously in public health, ongoing urgent needs with kids and youth. And to me, this was such an opportunity to promote and educate dental professionals on such a treatment, to arrest different stage cavities at certain time periods. Obviously, the earlier we intervene, the better as far as reducing those more invasive treatment plans. So for me, it was really that treatment in specifically that I was like, you know what, I have to join this company. They were the ones that brought this to Canada, and we've really been leading in the industry to get dental professionals on board. And again, it's not just public health, but definitely pediatric, general practice. So many work environments can benefit from utilizing something like this for kids, for elderly. So that's kind of where my passion is. And that's what kind of, that pivotal moment that you said, that you kind of were inquiring about, from public health to the switch with oral science, because that was quite different and it was a scary move. And, I wasn't quite sure if I was making that, going from public to private sector is very different.
Yes, it is.
But
yes,
yeah,
so what gave you that final push to make that decision? Because I think a lot of times for dental professionals, we are so heavily trained on how to provide clinical care, right?
Yes.
And making that transition, even if it's like a side hustle or something that you're working with on the side, is really tough decision to make that many people don't even make it. They'll think about it for however long they think about it, watch other people do it.
Yeah.
So what was that real big push?
Yes. So honestly, having a husband that was extremely supportive in me kind of making that switch in my career was, I think, an important factor because, especially with a job in the public sector where secure, you've got that, 8:30 to 4:30 role, that's important, especially when you're raising a family. And like we all know today, it really takes two parents working and doing the best they can do to provide for their family. But my husband was supportive, allowed me to really take that risk. And again, I think this internal kind of motivation to make a change, have more autonomy, work directly more with dental professionals. Yes, I love that chair side with the client, but I love motivating, educating, bringing awareness to dental professionals so in turn they can make changes that hopefully will have a broader impact on the clients receiving treatment and care.
So let's give a huge shout out to hubby.
Yes.
You're the bomb.com, okay?
Oh.
I get it, because I couldn't do what I do today if it wasn't for my husband. So, and my family, their whole support, because my kids also have to be able to support that. And it isn't easy. I just actually recorded a podcast yesterday about the juggling of entrepreneurship and being a parent. And there's entrepreneurship challenges, but then you have a new complexity with those challenges when you add in being a parent, especially a mother. Yes. Because we have such a huge role with the care of our kids. And so it is something else. And so shout out to all of those spouses and partners out there who, because we know we have male listeners as well,
Yes, that's
Not
true.
just husbands, but
Yes.
the wives out there who are really, really supporting those entrepreneurs and those people who want from their career, but also want to maintain their family. So I think that's very interesting that you mentioned that going from, the chair side to the dental professional. It's really all just education though. It's still education. It's
Yes.
just a different way
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
thinking.
for sure. And I think honestly, having that year in public health where I was dealing directly with the team, with the hygienists and the assistants, kind of taking that step back and looking at our processes and looking at community needs, that's, without that role in public health, I don't think I would have had that stepping stone to then leave and take on a role such as, the role I have with oral science across a territory. So it's how one thing really leads to another. So, and that was a temporary position that I had with public health. So I was to go back to the clinic, and I thought, you know what, this is kind of where I see myself going. And you take a risk, you make change happen, and you never know where it's going to lead, right? So
yeah. And one of the courses that I've taught as an educator is public health. I did that for 7 years. I absolutely love that course. And I feel that a lot of students, including myself, I was guilty of this.
Yes.
You forget of how much value you can get from being in a public health position and how it's a viable option. And a lot of us are trying to hurry up and get out of school, get those coins, get the highest, paid rate so that we can, pay off our student loans or whatever. But I've learned so much, like, from working in public health. All the topics that I speak on have to do with my role when I was in public health.
Yeah.
And where I have the greatest joy is working in public health. And everything we do as dental hygienists is centered around the public's total health.
Yeah. And what was really neat was to be a part of a division where it was like child and family health. You're looking at the connection between breastfeeding and, early childhood education. It was definitely a broader way to look at just the needs of the family. A lot of newcomers or low-income families that needed support, more so just, yes, oral health and their dental needs were a priority, but there was much more that you were looking at for some of those families, right? So it was very rewarding being there, and truly, learned and grew a lot as a professional, for sure.
So let me ask your opinion as far as a Canadian hygienist, because I know the US, obviously.
Yes.
But I have found that a lot of us are disgruntled, we're burnt out. Are you finding the same thing in Canada and with the hygienists? Because you guys can do independent practice, which I'm super jealous about. The West Coast can do that here in the US, but not the East Coast. East Coast is more conservative. So what would you say are some of the things that are leading to that loss of passion for some of us? And we're not just talking about dental hygienists, we're talking about everyone in the dental industry at some point may feel that. And what are some recommendations that you have to overcome it?
Yeah, you know what? I'm meeting with dental professionals every day, right? Going into different offices. So connecting with whether it be other hygienists, dentists, assistants, and kind of building that rapport, finding out about them. And really, for sure, there's this group that you see that just, they're not motivated. They're there because maybe they have to, meet with me and hear about, what we're sharing. Others, they're the ones driving the interest and motivation behind maybe changing some current protocols in office and making those home care recommendations for clients. And I think, to really pinpoint, why that is, I think that's a really hard question to give one specific answer to. But I think when you stay kind of stagnant and you're, those people that have maybe been in a practice environment for years, the people that they surround themselves with, the way that practice environment functions, like, are they being challenged? Are they being given special projects to look into things? Are they having team meetings and huddles to really motivate each other? And I mean, I think who you surround yourself with as the team can really change how you feel about your role in your job, right? So I think even just doing things outside your day-to-day job getting involved in, volunteer, getting involved with your regulatory college, getting involved with societies, whether that's getting on an executive committee or just going to these society meetings and networking. It's amazing how you can connect with one professional that, whether it be a dental hygienist, for example, just someone that sparks something within you to make a change, and you never know where that's going to take you, right? So I say do new and different things. Look, it can never hurt to go for interviews, see what else is out there. So if you're in a job and, it's just about the 9 to 5 and you're not happy, you really have to look to what can I change within this work environment that I do have control over, have those conversations with your colleagues, or really start looking what else is out there, or how might I, still get involved in this profession in different ways outside my job. Yes. I think can make a huge difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I like the point that you mentioned, as far as what elements can you control?
Yes.
And a lot of that control too should be on us, within us, our mind, our thinking. What is it that we are doing? Because sometimes even then you can't even control the culture of your environment. So that may be a sign that you may have to either change the environment or get involved with something in addition. So I really love that.
Yeah. And it was interesting. A Canadian hygienist, she actually posted something this morning. I'm not sure if you saw it, Jasmine, about like if you could give yourself advice in your younger years. And it was, for me, I commented on that and I said, you know what, like have a voice, make those suggestions, because you never know. Sometimes, whether it be a new dentist that you're working for, they're going to respect you for it. And if you're silent, things aren't going to change, right? You really need to follow, what you believe in. And sometimes that can just open up the dialogue and really, end up in a much better situation for the patient, for your employer, for your team members, right? So it's just about having that open communication, I think is a big thing to consider for sure.
Yeah. So do you do anything on a daily basis to help keep yourself in a positive mind frame? Because your skin is glowing, honey.
Oh. I would say, why, thank you. You're looking pretty good yourself. You know what? Yeah, I love the hair. Oh my gosh. And your smile, Jasmine, your smile is like contagious.
Oh, really?
Yes, I love it.
Thank you.
But you know what? Yes, I'm definitely into yoga. I try to, and it's great. Our boss is very, promotes, that mindfulness, taking that time for yourself to really unwind, because in turn, that's going to make you more productive, right? And sometimes less is more. It's all about time management. But for sure, you need those times where you're giving back to yourself. And we're all guilty of it. And for me to say that I'm not, I mean, for sure, there's times where I know I'm running myself ragged. And my husband knows it too, and my kids. But taking those little bits of time in the morning, later in the day, I mean, I'm more productive in the morning to kind of give some time to myself, whether it be, run out to an early yoga class or even just do something in my house on the treadmill or our rowing machine. And yeah, I love writing. So that's why I started the blog. I love just, putting my thoughts down on paper, doing some journaling. So I feel like that can really help. And just, again, connecting, having conversations with those that bring you joy and that you kind of feed off the motivation, those special friends or people in your life, that can really make a difference in your outlook, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I tell you, one of the biggest things I've learned is the importance of connection. I thought that I was going to be this tough woman and I can do it on my own. I can't, really don't need to ask anyone. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned in the last couple of years, especially being a mom of 2, is finding that connection with myself and with other beings. We need each other. We're meant to be in a communal type of environment,
Right. Yeah. And like I've heard you say, Jasmine, really knowing how to ask for help is key, right? And that's something that is hard to do at times, but you realize when you've got those right people in place and those that you can turn to for help, it can make you so much more impactful in what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, this morning I like to dance.
Yes.
I put on some music from when I was like in high school. and I was popping it. So what's do you like to dance at all? Like, what's some music that you kind of like to kind of get the mood?
You know what? I'm definitely like a top 40 kind of girl. It's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, my kids and my husband, we all have this very different taste in music. But yeah, I really love just kind of trending and bopping to like what's current on the radio. Definitely more upbeat kind of music,
Okay.
dance music. Yeah, going back to like high school and college. Yeah, I was a big, NSYNC fan.
Oh my goodness.
Still now a big Justin Timberlake fan for sure. I love him.
Yes, me too.
Yes, and I loved when him and Jay-Z went on tour. My husband and I went to that concert. And
get out of here.
Yes,
wow.
in Toronto. Yep, he surprised me. And yeah, I'm trying to think of the last concert I actually went to. Actually, you know what? It was with my son. I took him to his first concert at the it's called the Scotiabank Centre now, the old Rogers Centre in Toronto. And again, it was just a mix of kind of some top 40 artists, like Chainsmokers and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say love to dance and love all types of music, but definitely that top 40 kind of dance, hip hop or R&B would be my top favorite to get me going.
I knew it. We had like such a connection. I'm a big hip hop and R&B fan, but I've listened to everything. Like,
yes.
I had rock phase at some point. I've had a pop phase. NSYNC was my favorite, although I did listen to Blackstreet Boys. Yeah. But I still have every CD from NSYNC. Oh yes. Every single one.
I even have like the Justin Puppet doll.
Oh no, this is a true fan here, y'all.
That's going back like late high school. So I think I'm aging myself here. But no, very talented.
Man, I can't wait to meet you one day. All right, here's my last question for you. Okay. What is the best career advice you've ever received?
The best career advice. I think that career advice for sure. I'm trying to think who would have actually delivered that advice. I'm trying to think back to even just starting with oral science. And that was, follow your heart, follow what you believe in, and just be yourself, right? If you are your true self, you're going to connect with people, because now, the role that I'm in, I'm meeting with dental professionals and sharing information. And for sure, I need to believe in what I'm speaking to them about and really be 100%, what's out there, and really understanding how one thing can impact another. Because the more kind of broad knowledge we have, we can really understand the needs of the professionals that we're working with, right? So I would find just, being true to yourself and just keeping your eyes wide open to everything, so you can be, one step ahead, and really providing the most up-to-date evidence-based information is huge. And just taking each day as it comes, try not to be too overwhelmed, and just focus on the here and the now. And, that's, really what you have control over at this point in time. And just, yes, you've got a plan for the future with your career and where you're going. But I think it's also very easy to look too far ahead, and then that can impact the current state, which is, for me, most important, for sure.
Yes. Oh, that was powerful. I mean, because that leads to anxiety, okay? It will. You gotta give yourself some grace. And I am starting to learn that too for myself, is pausing a little bit. All right, so let the listeners know where to contact you, how to find your blog.
Yes. So blog would be www.strictlydentalpro.com. And obviously you can find me on Instagram as well. So again, the whole idea behind Strictly Dental Pro is it's really a platform, really a place that's really intended for dental professionals. So all of my followers, it's a private account, because really, again, this is a place for dental professionals to go. For sure, some within the public may find some of my posts and information interesting, but again, wanted to really create a spot where it'd be strictly more specific to dental professionals, whether you're a dentist, a hygienist, dental assistant, any role really within the industry. So, and then again, obviously oral science, that's my role with oral science. So even some of my contact information is on their website as well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you just Google oral science, all that will come up. And yeah, I would say those are kind of the three main avenues to get a hold of me.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And
well, I appreciate you having me, Jasmine. Thank you so much. It was great experience. It was lovely to connect with you.
yes.
The first time like this. It's
yes.
really neat. Yeah.
I agree. And I just want to give everyone like behind the scenes. I had told Lisa, oh yeah, everything is going to work out. Everything is going to be fine for our interview, and every possible thing that could go wrong.
Well, overall, it wasn't too bad. Pretty smooth, but a few little bumps, right?
Yeah, but you handled it like a pro. You didn't get flustered. You boom, right back in. So I love that you were able to handle that. So, all right, thanks
again
so much, for coming. You're welcome.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the show. We value each and every one of you. Dive in deeper by visiting the show notes for this episode or listening to more episodes on beyondtheprophy.com. If you found value in the show, share with a friend and leave us a review. We will see you next time, BTP family.